this dude can play.
This is sweet. We're students of Sharon, you know.
Yes. We have the same teacher. But he's in a whole nother.
That's not true.
I recognize the back of that.
Well, I offered to play during the offering for see, because I had a 2-minute piece I wanted to play, and so I ended up playing for a little more.
Good to see you. Say hi to Annette.
How you doing? I don't know whether I'm supposed to play. Are we live?
No, they don't go live till the well, there's
Sort of scroll the slide.
right, but you don't hear the back. It's on silent. You don't hear any sound.
It's great. I still have trouble with volume control on a piece like that.
What are you working on?
Lately, it's been Maple and Frag.
Wow, that's a hard piece.
And Sharon has been very good at
Everything.
of course, but I had issues with first just getting the notes down, and then now the volume control. You know, just
Volume control, yeah, right.
because you develop it, then she would just say the right hand sounds all the same. Yeah, keep going.
Good morning. All right, good morning and welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church of Richmond. My name is Larry Kruger. It is my honor to serve on your board of directors. For those of you who are new to us and members and friends who are tuning in from near and far, welcome. We are so grateful to be able to connect with you this morning. We are a community of many faith journeys and beliefs, committed to being deliberately diverse and fully inclusive. We want you to know that whoever you are, you belong here. We are a community that is resilient and committed to healing, does the work that needs to be done, commits to maintaining and establishing our relationships. Let us continue to stand together on the side of love. For more information, please visit our website at richmonduu.org, subscribe to our YouTube, past services, and log into services 5 to 10 minutes early to catch all of the preceding announcements. We also invite you to join us for coffee in the Great Hall prior to service. So thank you today. May this be a comforting, centering, and restorative moment for you. And I'll give a quick update on our generosity campaign. As of last Thursday, we have pledging households 106 in total, with a total pledged amount of $364,304. So towards our goal of $950,000 pledge, we're at about 38%. So Beth Mixovic is in the hallway if you want to meet with her to either ask questions about how to put in your pledge or to get help to do it this morning. And if you want to do it at home, that's great. You can do that all online. So thank you for your time.
Good morning. My name's Sam Kutcha. I've asked to come up here and speak for a moment just about generosity and giving within the church. It was 6 years ago yesterday that I sat right over here and I got married to my beautiful wife, married by Reverend Sherman here. And for me, it was the culmination of the many years that we spent here at the church together. My wife and I met here. We're raising our children here. We intend to be here for a long time. And the church is a really important part of our community, and we want it to continue to be an important part of our community. And it's wonderful to know that the church continues to be here for us. But we know that without our generosity to the church, that might not happen. None of this around us happens without us all contributing what we have to the church. So every time we hear about the next campaign, I get fired up, I get excited, because it's my opportunity to stand up and be counted and say, this is important to me. It's important to my family. It's important that when my son, Sage, just this morning, comes into our room and asks, where do we come from before we're born? That we have a community where he can explore the answers to those kinds of questions. So I encourage all of you to raise your hand and say, this community is important to me, I care about it, and I'm going to make a pledge. The dollar amount is not as important as just standing up to be counted and say, this church is important to me. So I encourage all of you, if you haven't done so already, to make a pledge and be counted. Thank you all so much.
Good morning. Happy Easter. I am Reverend Amy Russell, one of your assistant ministers here, and I'm so glad to see all of you here this morning. We're going to have a great day, and all of you who are listening at home. I want to welcome our UU singers who are here to help us with our wonderful hymns this morning, and we have our children's choir as well. We have Elliot Norman who's going to be playing the piano for us, and of course our wonderful Jamie Kilpatrick. And here on the dais to help me out is Reverend Sherman Logan and Leanne Luskin. So we've got a full day today. And we want to welcome any of you who are here for the first or second time, and if you'd like to introduce yourself, just raise your hand and we'll come around and give you the mic. You can say hello. Raise your hand if you'd like. Okay, you don't have to, but if you want to. Okay, not this morning, I guess. No? Okay, I don't see any takers up. On next week, maybe you'll feel like you can do it. So, this is a time when you get to say hello to your neighbor and just give a little hello for a minute. Go ahead. Oh, they're going to get the kids lined up here. Okay, you're after the prelude. Yeah.
Elliot and Natalia.
Sometimes I lay under the moon and thank God I'm breathing. Then I pray, don't take me soon, 'cause I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around. 'Cause all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day. One day, one day, one day. It's not about win or lose, 'cause we all lose when we feed on the souls of the innocent. Blood-drenched pavement, keep on moving, but the waters stay raging. And in this maze you can lose your way, your way. It might drive you crazy, but don't let it faze you, no way, no way. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around. Because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day. One day, one day, one day. One day this all will change, treat people the same. Stop with the violence, down with the hate. Day we'll all be free and proud to be on earth we sing songs, singing songs of freedom. Oh, yeah, oh, all my life I've been waiting for, I've been
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Children's Choir. That was amazing. The message of Easter, that of resurrection or rebirth. As Unitarians, we celebrate the metaphors present in that message. We each carry gifts that are waiting to be reborn into this world. Gifts such as our creativity, our joy, our passion for wherever we love. And one of our passions is being together in community. Today, as we celebrate our traditional flower commune and also celebrating the 100th anniversary of this wonderful tradition, we will be sharing our gifts with each other. We each brought something into this community, our gifts, and we'll be sharing that in our wonderful flower commune. Our story today is about a garden and a girl in a garden named Wanda who wanted to make her passion, her gift of growing things come true. And it didn't always work out the way you think it would, as it usually happens in life and in stories. So we'll see what happens when Wanda tries to share her gifts. That's what our story is about today, Wanda's Roses.
Good morning. Our chalice lighting this morning, words by Dillman Baker Sorrell. For holy days on which we recall the old stories, we light the flame. For Passover, which reminds us of the courage and strength of those seeking freedom in the past, we light the flame. For Easter, which reminds us that love is our greatest challenge, we light the flame. For gathering today in this sacred place, we light the flame. For the opportunity to be together as a community, to remember the past, to plan our future, to be alive in our presence. Now please rise in body or in spirit, and as we sing our opening hymn, Lo, the Earth Awakens Again, it's number 61 in your hymnal, or you can see the words on the monitors.
Good morning. My name is Leanne Luskin. I use she, her pronouns. I have the delight and honor of serving the children and youth and families of this wonderful congregation. I have a helper this morning. Adele Koshi is going to come up and read the part of Wanda for our story. We have a spot set aside here on the steps for our young and young at heart, if you would like to get a little bit closer to hear the story. If you're feeling a little shy and you'd like to bring your grown-up with you, that's fine too. Like Reverend Amy said, our story today is called Wanda's Roses. The author is Pat Brisson, and the pictures are by Marianne Coca-Leffler, who has generously given us permission to share her illustrations. So you'll be able to see the pictures from the book as we read. We have a lot of friends here today. This is great. We need bigger steps. All right, I think we are settled in and ready. One morning in May, on the way to school, Wanda noticed a bush growing in the empty corner lot at Fillmore and Hudson Streets. It must have been growing for a while because it was about 2 feet tall, and Wanda was surprised that she hadn't seen it before. But there it was, bare and thorny, and Wanda, who loved beautiful things, felt her heart beat faster.
A rose bush. A rose bush.
Your very own rose bush. Now, the rose bush didn't really belong to Wanda, but since nobody seemed to own the lot or the heaps of junk that were piled there, she decided she would care for this bush and make it her own. All during school, she thought about her rose bush. She drew pictures of what it would look like. She borrowed books about arranging flowers. She asked so many questions about how to take care of it that finally her teacher said she really must stop asking questions about roses and start thinking about electricity, which was what the lesson was about. After school, she rushed to the rose bush. It was still bare and thorny. Maybe it needs more sun, thought Wanda. So she put down her school bag and began dragging some of the nearby trash out to the curb. Mrs. Turner, who was on her way to the store, stopped to help her with a broken chair. "Cleaning up the neighborhood, Wanda?" Mrs. Turner asked. "That's a nice project for you."
Oh, I'm not just cleaning, Wanda told her.
You're helping your rose bush to get more sun?
I'm hoping, oh, wait, where are we? Sorry.
Where is your rose bush?
Over there.
And she pointed proudly to that bare, thorny bush. "Oh, Wanda, I'm not so sure that's a rose bush," Mrs. Turner said gently.
Sure it is, said Wanda. I've seen rose bushes in books, and this is exactly what they look like before they bloom. Just you wait. In a few weeks, this lot will be full of roses.
"Well," said Mrs. Turner, "good luck with it, Wanda." And as she walked away, Mrs. Turner thought to herself, if that's a rose bush, then I am the Queen of England. The next day after school, Wanda hurried to her rose bush. It was still bare and thorny. Maybe it needs more air, thought Wanda. So she put down her school bag and began taking more of the trash out to the curb. Once I get all of this trash out of here, she thought, nothing will block the air from getting to my rose bush. So every day after school, that week and the next, Wanda worked in the empty lot. Mrs. Giamatti, who lived in an apartment next door, gave Wanda some trash bags for the old shoes, beer bottles, broken toys, and bits of glass that she was picking up. "You have done a great job cleaning up this lot, Wanda," Mrs. Giamatti told her.
Oh, I'm not just cleaning. I have to get rid of all this trash so my rose bush will get enough sun and fresh air to bloom.
"But where is your rose bush?" Mrs. Giamatti asked, and so Wanda showed her. Mrs. Giamatti put her hand on Wanda's shoulder and spoke softly to her. "Wanda," she said, "this is not a rose bush."
Oh, but it is. And in a few weeks, this lot will be filled with the most beautiful roses you ever saw.
"That would be nice," said Mrs. Giamatti, "but I don't want you to be disappointed if this bush just doesn't bloom."
Don't worry, Mrs. Giamatti. I won't be disappointed.
Mrs. Giamatti sighed. "That is not a rose bush and will never be one," she thought to herself. That concludes part 1 of our story. So if you'd like to head back to your seats, we will find out more about Wanda and her maybe rose bush in just a little bit. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Will you join me in a time of prayer and meditation? Spirit of life and love, in this time when the earth brings forth its reminders of new life, buds opening, the earth warming with the smells of new grass, soft breezes blowing on our hair, we feel within us this stirring, this hope of resurrection, of being born again, throwing off our heavy coats, unwrapping our gardens from the blankets of old leaves and branches. We begin to uncover all that is underneath and within. The new green shoots of growth showing in the ground are also mirrored perhaps in our own lives with new hopes to birth. Rolling away the stones from the caves where we have hidden away our fragile selves, we begin to emerge resilient. Spirit within, help us to begin again with the possibilities of new life, of new community, of friendship, of renewal. This particular spring, as we emerge from our pandemic hideaways, let us come together, finally in community, to offer each other our most precious gifts, ourselves. Let us take a few moments to reflect, breathing in gratitude for the joy we find in spring and the gifts we have to bring to this community. Amen, and may it be so.
Morning. All right, I am up here to introduce our Share the Plate for this month again. It is the Fonticello Food Forest, and that is in the south side off of, it's in like the Woodland Heights area. Here at First UU, we always select a nonprofit that goes along with our mission here. And Fonticello Food Forest has been selected because they fit in quite well with our seventh principle, which is respect for the interdependent web of all existence. And it's something we talk about a lot in the Earth Care Initiative group here at First UU. We talk a lot about like planting like seeds, like not literally, but like in a figurative way. Like, we have the booths and things out here where we talk about composting and a lot of things that they do at Funicello Food Forest, and talking about being sustainable and just planting those seeds in people's minds to grow into something better. It kind of fit really well with, I love the song that the children sang this morning about like the lyric that we don't want to fight no more, there'll be no more wars, and our children will play one day. Because they emphasize a lot at Funicello Food Forest on education for children. They have like a children's library there. They do a lot of children's programming. The people that are running it let me know that they have a children's mulch kitchen, which I have not seen. There's a log exploration zone, which I have seen. There's a lot of logs and things where they can build and put a lot of things together. And there's always people out there playing with those, like during times of like when it's scheduled and otherwise. And they also just made a bramble fort, so it's a little like maze going through the brambles out there. So it's very like learning in nature, and I just love the idea of Funicello Food Forest because they do a lot of this, what I call like planting little seeds for one day, like they're being the change that they wish to see in the world as far as being very sustainable, very local. And yeah. Here. So, it went so well last weekend when I came up here and just improvised the whole thing. So when they asked me to do it again, I still didn't plan very much because I thought it went really well last week. So. Yeah, that's it. I think it's a good cause. I think you'll hope you give generously, and now our offering will be taken and gratefully received. There's ways to give. I don't know the way. What's all the ways? Come on. I'll let you do it.
All the ways to give. Okay. Thank you, Drew. There are lots of ways to give. That's one of them. The ushers will bring you around a plate for baskets for those who want to give today in the hall. There are going to be other electronic ways to give that are going to show on your screen in a minute. Thank you for your generosity.
Thank you, Elliot. It's such a delight to have you here with us today. That was really fun. Thank you. It is time for part 2 of our story, so I would like to invite Adele, our Wanda, back up to join us, and all of our young and young at heart participants, if you want to move around a little bit, come back up for the story. While everyone is getting settled, if you weren't already aware, we will be having a first UU Easter egg hunt after service. If you'd like to join in, please meet us out in the courtyard. If you don't have your own basket or bucket, we have some, so no worries. We will head over to the Carillon area, a little off to the right. Some of our fantastic youth group has been helping the Easter Bunny get set up out there while we're having service. All right, are we ready to see what Wanda is up to with her rose bush? All right, it's the afternoon, and she hurried to her rose bush. It was still bare and thorny. She looked at the dry ground and smiled.
Don't worry, little bush. I'll get you some water, and then you'll grow flowers.
Wanda went to the butcher shop across the street.
Mr. Sanchez, would you please give me some water for my rose bush?
Rose bush? Is that what I see you taking care of and talking to every day over there? Are you sure that's a rose bush, Wanda? Mr. Sanchez asked.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, but it can't bloom because it needs water.
Mr. Sanchez gave her water in a plastic bucket. I hope that really is a rose bush, Wanda, he said, looking at her doubtfully.
Oh, you'll see. In a few weeks, this whole lot will be full of roses.
As Wanda carried the water to her rose bush, Mr. Sanchez muttered, "In a few weeks, that thorn bush will still be a thorn bush." Every day, Wanda ran to her rose bush after school, but every day it was still bare and thorny. She watered it and sang to it and checked its bare branches for roses. Mrs. Turner, on her way to the butcher shop, stopped to see if there were any roses yet. Mrs. Giamatti, seeing Wanda in the lot, called down from her apartment to ask if there were any roses yet. And every day when Wanda went to the butcher shop for water, Mr. Sanchez asked if there were any roses yet. And to each person, Wanda would answer the same thing.
Just you wait. Pretty soon this whole lot will be filled with roses.
Then one day in June, Wanda had an idea. Looking at the bare, thorny bush, she said,
If my rose bush won't give me roses, then I'll give roses to my rose bush.
And when she saw Mrs. Turner, Mrs. Giamatti, and Mr. Sanchez, she gave each of them an invitation that said, "Please come for tea and muffins in Wanda's Rose Garden, Saturday at 9. "Oh dear," said Mrs. Turner. "Is she still expecting to get roses from that bush?" "Oh no," said Mrs. Giamatti. "She'll be so disappointed." "Oh, darn," said Mr. Sanchez. "There must be something I can do." The night before the tea party, everyone was very busy. And the next morning at 9, everyone was surprised to see Wanda's rose bush covered with roses. Paper roses that Wanda had made herself and carefully tied to each bare, thorny bush. But more surprising yet, everyone who came to the party had brought along a rose bush to plant near Wanda's. And we have some helpers. And just like all of you who brought flowers to share with all of us. So after they had eaten their muffins and drank their tea, They all got busy planting rose bushes. Mrs. Turner dug the holes. Mrs. Giamatti held the bushes in place while Wanda filled in around the roots with soil. Mr. Sanchez brought water from his shop and watered them all thoroughly. When the work was finished, Mrs. Turner said, "Wanda, this is going to be a rose garden fit for royalty." Wanda and the others smiled. And later that summer, the whole lot was filled with the biggest, most beautiful, sweetest smelling roses that anyone had ever seen, just as Wanda had always said it would be. That is the end of our story, and look at all these beautiful flowers. Thank you, Adele, for reading the part of Wanda. You did a lovely job, and our friends can head back to their seats now.
So this year, as we celebrate Flower Communion, we mark the 100th anniversary of the Flower Communion that was first celebrated in the church in Prague on June the 4th, 1923. The minister, the Reverend Norbert Kopek, was looking for a ritual that would more closely bind members of the Unitarian Church, but without the Christian communion ritual of bread and wine that came with a theology of atonement, which Unitarians had rejected. He looked around the gardens in Prague at spring and was taken by the beauty he saw in nature. He invited the church members to bring flowers from a garden to share with each other, symbolizing the gift we all bring into community. Each flower is different as each person is different, each bringing their unique presence. All together represent diversity in nature. So we now will enjoy a musical selection, Mother Earth, Father Spirit, that was written by Reverend Kopek. That was beautiful. Thank you. And now we have the blessings of the flowers. We share this blessing of the flower communion by Reverend Dr. Peter Shomosky, minister of the Prague Unitarian Congregation. In the name of what is holy, in the name of what is good, in the name of that which gives life, we have gathered here in this place today. We have been given life to live with eternal values, for that is the source of happiness, to work on ourselves and bring happiness in our lives, to be as valid as possible to others with whom we are connected by invisible relationships. You, the flowers, remind us of the wonderful simplicity of the natural order and that we are part of it. You remind us of the beauty and harmony of diversity. You remind us that one can feel and perceive and live unity in diversity and diversity in unity. Let the spirit of created life unite us as it reigns among us. Amen. Blessed be. Now, starting with the left side, you're invited to come forward and select one flower, representation of the gift you brought from the community. So please stand on the left side and come down the aisle and just come in front of the altar and select your flowers. Okay. Please return in the center aisle there. This way, right there in the center. There you go. Now I invite those in the left center section, please rise. on my right side, please rise. On the right. And come forward from the rear. Come on in, come on, come on, come on. Right. And return down the center aisle. Those of you in the right center, please rise and come down the aisle.
What a beautiful ritual. You know, it's been a long winter, not in terms of weather, but in terms of the past 3 years. It's been a long winter, and we have lost a lot. But in this emerging spring and in this time when we feel like we are coming back into life and back into community, these flowers just remind us that there is so much within us and in this community that is growing and just waiting to be born. So thank you all for being here this morning to help us welcome back this resurrection.
And now we extinguish this chalice, but not the life of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again.
The Spirit of the Holy dwells in all of us. The Spirit of love dwells in us. May the flowers in our hands remind us that the Spirit of life dwells among us as we gather as a faith community. May the flowers in our hands remind us that the arc of the universe needs our embodied love and faith to bend toward justice. Will you please stand as we sing our closing hymn, De Coloris.